Hello, this is Calvin Idle. Welcome to the Lavender Table, a web-based talk show for and about the LGBT community. And now, let's keep the conversation going with your host, Gary Elgin.
Last April 2012, I took the rest of his ashes to Scotland and spread his ashes in Scotland.
Did you ever think love would come again?
Honestly, I didn't know. I also had these feelings like, I don't know if I'm ready, or what will other people think? Is it too soon? And I've come to the realization that nobody's ever really ready for anything. Life happens. So I decided, I want to be with someone. I know that.
What's life like now?
Well, I still have my moments where a memory, or I'll hear a song, or I'll see something of Ron's, and I'll break down and I'll have a cry and I'll let grief do its thing and it'll be done and I'll just go on. But the thing that I found is you can't beat grief. You cannot defeat it. I tried at the beginning and failed miserably. I was in some really, really dark places, and I came to the realization of myself that you just let it do its thing, and when it decides to go away, it'll go away. But when it wants to come back, it'll come back. So, but life now, I don't get those grief outbursts as much as I used to, but things are getting better. Things are a lot better than what they were a year ago. I truly hadn't accepted Ron was gone until I spread his ashes in Scotland. And after I did that, I think that's when things started, getting better for me.
Tell us the happiest memory you have of Ron.
The happiest memory that I have is on September 12th, 2002, we had a civil union in Vermont. And that was an amazing thing. It was an empty church with a really good friend of ours, Steve. He at that point lived in Massachusetts. So he was our best man, flower girl, he ring bearer, he had all the titles. So it was us, Steve, and a Episcopal lay minister at an amazingly beautiful church in Vermont. And we had set our own vows and we cried, and Steve cried, and the priest cried, and the lay minister cried, and it was just a big cry fest. But that was the top memory I have.
I saw this sitting on the pew, and so I wanted you to share it with us and tell us about this photograph of you and Ron.
We were over at a Scottish festival, and we wanted to have a picture of us together in our kilts, and it was, I'll never forget this day. He was fidgeting with his kilt, making sure it was all nice and neat and prim and proper, and I was like, I don't care, take the picture. But this is where he was the most happy, when he could go to the Scottish festival and just enjoy all there was about Scotland. But I'll always have this picture.
Were the times with Ron always happy?
Yes. I mean, there were 99% of the time, everything was good. That's not to say it was perfect. I mean, we did have some ups and downs, but for the most part, everything was good.
What were the roughest times?
Well, probably, I mean, he did have some, the health issues, obviously. After his heart surgery in 2000, he was off work for, I think, 12 weeks, and that was really difficult on him and stressful. But other than that, I mean, we had disagreements, but it was situations where, we wouldn't talk to each other for 4 hours, and someone would finally break. Oh, I'm sorry, But for the most part, everything was good.
What was a typical evening at home?
Sitting at home, eating dinner, watching Lost, and wasting 6 years of our lives. Because it ended up being pointless on that show. But anyway, I digress.
Who cooked?
We didn't really. That's probably what contributed a lot to his health issues. But if there was cooking, he did the majority of it. I mean, I'd burn water, so you don't want me to cook.
Did you enjoy a social life?
We had a close circle of friends that we would spend time with. I met all of Ron's friends 2 days after I met Ron, so I think he was really happy that we met. So I'm still really good friends with them today. And yes, we would go out on Friday nights, every Friday night, and have dinner. And of course, over the years, things happen, life happens. So we kind of went to once every other week, and then once a month, then once every couple of months, then not at all. But that's how life goes. But I still stay in contact with the majority of the friends. A couple of my friends, actually, Ron's best friend is the organist here at the church, so I see him quite often.
If you had an opportunity to talk to someone who's just lost a partner, what would you say?
Oh, well, I would say, obviously, I'm really sorry for what you're going through. The main thing is to, and I know it's easier said than done, but not to focus on the loss, but focus on the life, and to also not give up on yourself. Because if you give up on yourself, your life becomes, nothing at that point. So, but there were some times at first that I really wanted to give up on myself, and I didn't want to see anybody. I didn't want, it was work and home. That was it. And if I didn't have a reason to go out, I wouldn't go out. So it was a self-imposed exile from the outside world. And if I had to go back and do it, I would go out more and be more with people. But it was a hard lesson, but I learned from it.
What helped you come out?
Ron, he taught me that being yourself is okay. You don't have to hide who you are. I hate to say it, I was ashamed of who I was at that time. He wasn't screaming on the mountaintops, to everybody, I'm gay, or anything. But he was comfortable in his own skin. He was himself. He was a gay man, or is a gay man, and that's something that I wasn't able to see in myself, and he helped me do that, and I'm really thankful for that.
What helped you through your grief?
Honestly, I did have the church. Everyone here was really supportive, still are. My family, although there is distance, in miles and personally, they were as supportive as they could have been, possibly could have been. But when I was by myself, with no one else around, now I know what the term gut wrenching means. And then you multiply that by, infinity. Grief it's the hardest thing that anyone can go through when they lose someone that they're in love with. I don't want to compare to losing a parent or a brother or sister or anything like that. I mean, it's not fair to. But losing a partner, losing a spouse, it's like half of you's been ripped out. And then you don't know who you are at that point. You have to then start building yourself again. You have to redefine yourself. And honestly, when I was by myself with no one else around, I don't know. I mean, I just let grief do its thing and hope it would go away and stay away for a day or a minute or a second. That's the only answer I can give you.
Did you feel at all that you needed permission to live again?
No, I never got to that. No, I didn't. I never thought that. What I did think was, what was the point in my life? I knew that I had to continue living because, Ron, he said things also too. There were all other things that happened prior to him passing that when you're in the moment, when you're in that situation, you don't pick up on. But after the fact, you're like, he was trying to warn me. He said one time, well, when I'm gone, I don't want you to be alone. And I'm like, oh, what are you talking about? We got years together. And, you just don't see it. I mean, he loved antiques. He would buy things, and we had a huge garage, and it was jam-packed full. The whole time we lived together, I never parked in a garage. I mean, he had that much stuff. And so, anyway, he started putting things in an antique mall and selling things. Well, I didn't know. I thought he needed money. I thought he was having some. We never talked about our own personal financial situations. So I just assumed he needed money. What I didn't realize was he was just selling his things because I guess he knew and he didn't want me to have to deal with those things. So, but when you're in this situation, you just don't see it.
What one memory can you call upon that would describe your relationship with Ron?
Well, there's so many. It's hard to pick one. Probably, let's go for the most simple. There was one evening when I was coming home from work, and it was snowing, and he was calling me every 5 seconds. He was already home. Oh, I'm worried about you. Where are you? And I get home, and he's waiting for me at the door, and just took me into his arms and kissed me, and I was worried about you. And he truly was in love with me, and I was in love with him. And I am in love with him. He'll always be in love with me. So that's love is the answer to that question.
Do you think gay marriage will happen here in the United States as a nation?
Later than sooner. I know there's 12 states now. The states in the South are going to be the linchpin. It's going to take longer here than anywhere else in the country. But I may be wrong. I mean, Defense of Marriage Act and Proposition 8, the Supreme Court are still deliberating over it. So I mean, they may say Prop 8's unconstitutional and Defense of Marriage Act's unconstitutional and change that in a second. So, but if those two factors weren't in play, I would say it would take a long time, especially in the South.
I can't thank you enough for sitting down and sharing your memories of Ron and sharing your experiences of your life together. I hope that your life continues to be happy and fulfilling, and your being here tonight means a great deal to us.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity, and if I can help one person, whether it be gay, straight, that's lost a loved one, that's all that matters to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.